Right, we are live. No one's in attendance yet. That'd be the worst thing. All right, we've got people joining us. We've got 3 people in.
Yeah.
Hi, Vinny. Hi, Georgiou. Lee Lawrence. 27 registered. So let's give it a little while. As the 3 of you can see, 6 live now. Oh, so everyone's popping in. Welcome, Liz, Becky, Eagle, Simon, Daniel, 13. Tell what, they've come to see you, Louis.
Yes, must have.
Come to see your debut, mate.
You're the star here, Andy, not me.
Behave yourself. Obviously, let's tell people. Obviously, the factory is not normally so quiet.
No, it is a little bit weird seeing it this quiet, but given the situation.
How many people are in there?
In the factory, it's about 70 on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So when you go down from 70 people to 4, you start to realize everything that goes on.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on normally.
I've got some chat here, maybe the sound. Hello, everyone. Yeah, excellent. Hello, everyone. Yeah, good. People are introducing us. Hello, that's nice. Yeah, so it must be quite. We've got questions coming in as well already, Louis. Yeah, so it must be very, very strange with 70 people just in the factory. I mean, how many people in the office as well on the admin side?
So we're just over, like you said, just over 100 in total. Wow. So it's about 30 in the office. It's normally a 2-to-1 ratio for every one person in the office to a factory.
Wow.
So
and literally, it's just the 4 of you plus. Oh, I might pause there. The 4 of you plus Jimmy.
Yeah, the 4 of us plus Jimmy. Although he's not much of a help.
Oh, poor old Jimmy. Don't be saying stuff like that. We love Jimmy. Hold on, my video might have paused in the worst possible face going. Hold on, me horses. It's live TV for you. It's bound to have happened to me as well, isn't it? What can have happened to you, Louis? Here we go. Disconnect. Let's come back on. Go on iPhone. There we go. That's better.
There you go.
Back in the room.
Yep.
I know you all miss me. Right. Let's have a look. We've got 18 in the house. I think it's a good place to start. Anyone that joins thereafter, anything they miss, we are recording. We are recording this. I say we're recording it, but I assume we're recording it. I keep promising people can have the content afterwards, but hold on. Yeah, well, let's hope we are. If not, we'll have to do it all again, Louis.
Yeah, that's all right. I've got time.
26 now in, so that's a good number. Only 2 people that registered aren't here, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to
everyone.
At home with the Georgious. Today started off just literally about clothing, and out of that came a family who have a factory in Dunstable and have 100 plus employees. Obviously, they had to send them home for self-isolating, but realised that they wanted to keep the clients, ourselves, Outstanding Branding, and other people, the promise that they always make, which is, they're not the cheapest, but they're by far the best. And so they wanted to make sure that They wanted to make sure that they kept the jobs rolling. As a family, they've grown up around this. George and Nikki started the company, God knows how many years ago. I mean, they're ancient. Am I right, Louis?
1998 it was.
1998.
My dad and a single embroidery machine. I think it was a 6-head.
Wow.
An old.
Did he have hair? Did he have hair back then?
No, he didn't have hair then either.
So the family decided if they're going to self-isolate, they may as well come and run jobs in the factory. And Louis, you can see that boy's not done a day's work in his life. They lead a charmed life, Louis and Elizabeth. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there?
No.
But over the past few weeks, they have worked tirelessly. They've just recently run a job for Nightingale Hospital, which, again, for the family to do that was really, really special. And so, Louis, tell us a bit about Essential. Tell us a little bit of itself. And I believe we're going to go and meet the Georgious.
Yes. So, as Andy just said, Essential was started by my mum and dad in 1998. Started as Essential Embroidery Design, where we focused solely on embroidery. For the first 10 years of our existence, that is what we mainly offered. It was mainly embroidery. As with our core ethos is focusing on quality and service. We want to make sure that the product that we're putting out the door is the best in the country. As we've grown and over the years, we've grown from more than just embroidery into offering all types of garment embellishment. So that's embroidery, screen printing, transfer printing, digital printing. A bit about me. I joined the company full time about 18 months ago. Firstly, started off running our marketing department. Then probably about 7-8 months ago, I took a bit of a change and I'm now in production and I run the screen print department. So this area here is now where I spend most of my day, running the production. We now have 3 automatic carousels, which have the capacity to churn out 15,000 prints a day. So we can really ramp up production when it's needed.
Wow.
So should we go walk over and say?
Yeah, let's go see the family. So George, Nikki, Elizabeth and Louis make up the Georgious, and Jimmy's the star of the show. What are we going past here, Louis? Just on the left-hand side, mate.
So here, these are just some stock that is live orders. A few of our live orders, obviously with the current situation where they were being sent to, the warehouses have closed.
Yep.
So we have some ongoing jobs that when the country reopens, they will be sent out.
Cool.
So there's some stuff around there for that. Here, my mum and dad now currently working on a job that
currently working
to go out Yeah, they're actually working.
Wow.
I think they just staged it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Hurry up and help.
Yeah, if you put that in.
All of you out there don't know that George hates being on camera. He hates this like I wouldn't believe. I suggested that George did this with me, and he was having none of it. But George, tell everyone just what it's been like. Getting back to basics, really. Getting back to the factory floor, working long hours. How's it felt? What's it meant to you?
Strangely satisfying, actually. It's bringing us back down to earth, where we started from, what we're doing. It's been at least 15 years since I physically worked a machine myself, and my back is killing me. But I have to say, I'd much rather be doing this than sat at home. It's giving me something to do. We are helping. Some bits that we're doing are basically straightforward, but we've done quite a few bits that are going to essential workers and so forth. And
brilliant.
Quite honestly, I'm proud to be doing that, and I'm really pleased. Long may it continue.
How did it feel, George, with
you
the job for the Nightingale Hospital? Because I was saying to Louis the other day, that's a piece of history that you created.
Absolutely. And, chuffed to do it as a company, but even more chuffed to do it personally. We physically ran that ourselves. And as I'm saying, that's going back to our roots. We were, this morning, I was running an embroidery machine, running a job. Nikki was here packing, and I shouted across and said, look, this is what it was like 20 years ago when, I used to work all day, and then he would work at the bank, then come back and help me pack in the evening. So,
Brilliant.
We are, what's horrible to see is that we've got the factory here with all these machines around, and it's quiet and eerie, and, just.
And that's off the back of a recent investment in refurbishment as well, George, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We were, 3 weeks ago, we were installing new machines based on, on projections for the rest of the year, obviously based on last year's results and everything. We were gearing up for quite major growth. That growth, I think, will still be there, but at the moment, it's survival. Basically, we all have to survive this, and I think we will survive it. I think the whole country will survive it, and just keep plodding along.
George will survive it. We'll survive it
when it comes.
Families like the Georgious, mate, that are willing to get their hands dirty and carry on. I've said it to many people. You're keeping the UK and European promo clothing industry alive. Getting jobs out and enabling us all to carry on. So for that, I thank you.
Look, we've all got to get our hands dirty. We've all got to do things. We've all got to come out of our comfort zone. And it's all hard work. And that's it. But that's the only way we're going to get through this. And I'm sure we will get through it.
Brilliant. Well, lovely to meet you. Now, no disrespect, George. No disrespect. You're not the most prettiest person to be on camera. Your wife and daughter.
Right.
Leaving Jimmy,
absolutely.
to be fair.
I'm glad to. Yeah, Jimmy's here. Jimmy's asleep in his bed. We'll get him down in a sec. Yeah.
Let's
got to get him. Yeah.
All right. Let's go have a quick word with Nikki.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, George. Lovely to meet you.
And him is my mum, Nikki.
Hello, Mum. She's having none of it, is she?
Where's the list?
No, put her on. She's not getting away with that easy.
He said you're not getting away that easy. You want? And
that told me.
Elizabeth and Jimmy are coming.
Right, unfortunately, everyone, Nikki's not going to talk to us. Here he is, Jimmy and Elizabeth.
I can't hear.
Yeah, do you want to put that in?
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello. Hi,
How are
I
you?
can hear you now.
Excellent. So how's it been? Louis has been telling me about chip nails and the hardships of obviously being back in the factory. How's it been?
My hands are red raw.
Are they? Has it been nice though to actually spend time with the family?
We're spending a lot of time together.
Yeah, a bit too much.
We don't get a break.
And what about Jimmy? How's he keeping morale up?
Oh, Jimmy loves it because Dad's never out. Jimmy's so happy. He's like,
bless him.
Goes to work with Dad, comes home with Dad. Dad can't go out in the evening. So Jimmy's just as happy as anything.
He's in his element.
The second Dad leaves the house, he just pines for him. So,
brilliant.
Yeah, he's loving it.
Lovely. Excellent. And so what's your favourite part? What do you enjoy the most? What machines do you run?
I was doing end of dryer and unloading on the screen print machine the other day. I quite enjoyed that. The embroidery I found a bit harder, so I'd probably say I prefer screen printing. On
that note, Louis is going to go and show us a screen printing demo. Are you going to come with Jimmy, or are you going to go back to packing?
I might have to go to the office because of the phone.
Okay. Well, lovely. Thank you very much. Everyone, that's Elizabeth Georgiou and Jimmy Georgiou.
Yeah, Jimmy's there.
That's the thing.
Hold on, I crashed again.
That's it. There you go. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna go do the
So
live stream printing.
what we'll do is, everyone, we've got some a nice little BPMA, the British Promotional Merchandise Association video, just to show you why Louis set up a demonstration of a screen printing machine, which will be quite interesting because a lot of you guys out there use screen printing for the technique you have on your garments, and if you don't, you'll get to see exactly how that works. But first, I'm just going to show you a quick video.
Promotional clothing. It's more popular than you may have realised. Just think about it. The shop staff who serve you, the exhibition you visit, the conferences you attend, the waitress in the cafe, the guy fixing the boiler. Promotional clothing is all around us every day. In fact, research conducted by the British Promotional Merchandise Association shows that a massive 91% of respondents use branded clothing in their business. And there's good reasons why promotional clothing is so popular. Brands use it to make their staff and team members easily distinguishable, so they stand out and draw attention to a specific promotional or positive brand message, to convey a professional image, and to make staff more approachable, adding to the perceived value of the brand. Plus, they use promotional clothing specifically for customers, as branded merchandise is always popular for generating goodwill and creating an incentive to take action. And when customers want to advertise your brand for you, well, that has to be a good thing. There's so much to choose from. T-shirts, polo shirts, sweatshirts and hoodies are some of the most popular, along with fleeces, jackets, shirts and blouses. In fact, with so many branding techniques available, you'll never be short of creative ways to display and promote your brand. There you have it. Promotional clothing is much more than just staff uniforms. So how could you make use of clothing in your next campaign? Talk to one of our experts today and let us help you boost your business with promotional clothing. Now, here's Mikhail.
Right, so hopefully that was a little bit of insight. We're now back with Louis, who's at his screen printing machine. Louis, over to you.
Yep. So it's just warming up. I'm going to let it go around one more time, and then we're printing a 4-color design. It's actually the design that I'm wearing right now, but on a white T-shirt. So the white is a dark color.
Okay.
It should be able to take you round.
Okay.
Hopefully it works.
And so,
I'm sure it will do.
explain the process, Louis.
Yeah.
So the garment comes into the factory. What happens next?
A garment will come into the factory. So we will order garments off the back of an order. So say we've ordered 100 T-shirts to supply 100 printed T-shirts. The garments will come in, and the first thing our guys will do is they will count those 100 T-shirts to make sure that we actually do have 100 and not 99 or 98 have been sent. That is our first point of call to iron out any mistakes before things move on. If there is a mistake, we can fix it. In terms of screen printing, what we would need to do next is create the stencil. So I think I have one over here. It is essentially this is the stencil. So this is a screen that we coat with emulsion and then black out some of the emulsion to create a stencil that we can then print through.
Okay.
We need one of those for each color. So as you can see on the machine here, I have got set up. This is a screen to print the pink color.
Right.
Next to that, we've got the screen to print a grey color. So with multiple screens, you build up lots of different colors on a T-shirt to create a logo. So a T-shirt would be loaded onto the machine here like this.
Okay.
You can't quite see it, but we have like lasers to help us position it to make sure everything is consistent throughout the run, and everywhere is printed in the same place. The biggest part in screen printing is the setup. Of course, I've done that already, so I can now just press a button. The machine will go around and print it. So I guess
Let's do it.
what we'll do.
Let's do it. Yes, press the button.
So here, let's go sample. There you go. That's it. So it goes round. What we're doing here is we're just flashing it. That kind of warms it up.
Yep.
Still here. So we get to our first color here. Oh, we can't really.
Okay, yeah, cool.
We've printed 2 colors so far. This flashes it again to solidify those colors.
So what is that? What is that flashes it? What is that, a heat or a light or?
It's heat.
Right.
It's so that when we then print the next colors, where it's pushing down on the T-shirt, we don't want to rip those colors off of the T-shirt.
Right.
So here is the final print. So we
I can't believe you went with an Essential design, not an OB one. I could have used them as giveaways.
I use them for myself. I need uniform every day.
Oh, whatever.
What we would normally then do is this T-shirt here would be taken off of here and put into this big dryer. That then cures the ink onto the T-shirt. So it is there forever. Right. Screen printing, the quality of screen printing of a correctly printed print, which we always do.
Always do.
The print will last longer than the garment. So the garment will be breaking apart before the print does. I haven't turned on the big gas dryer today for one T-shirt because I thought that would be a bit...
let's look after the polar bear.
I know. Yeah, exactly. But I can cure this under that flash again.
Okay.
So if I take it round... yeah.
And so a machine like that, Louis, how many garments could it do an hour on a 4-color job like that?
On a 4-color job like that, you could be getting up to 800-900 an hour with an experienced team.
What about you and the family?
We
a few less.
We got up to about 600 an hour with the print that we were printing. Which that was a bit more simple. But
that's normal. You should start having some sort of like challenge for all the distributors to come along and see who's the best team to run a job on the screen printing machine.
Yeah.
What are the limitations?
Well, we should do.
What are the limitations? Why would someone use screen print as opposed to, say, a digital print or another form of printing? Because screen printing has been around forever. Why would someone use that?
So I think what the most likely thing is screen print would be number one, and you would use something else if you can't use screen print.
Right.
And a reason why you would use something else is, say, digital print. As we saw there, for each color, you need to have a screen. So if you have a photographic image or a a print with lots of colors, but on a small quantity, then it's going to be more cost effective to digitally print that, because there is a much lower setup involved as opposed to on a screen print machine.
Fair enough. Anyway, you're getting some love. Basically, Matthew Halloran, he reckons that 600 an hour, that's amazing. So, if you go wrong, Lou, you can get on their machines, mate. There's people out there that's loving your work.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, anyone, just as we're going along, everyone that's out there, do get your questions and answers ready. At the end of this, we are going to have a Q&A. Quick one, Stowe, that do you screen print labels inside?
Yes, we do. Do I have an example of that? I don't think I have an example of that here, but yes, we can.
But it's all the rage, isn't it, nowadays, to actually to print the labels to the inside. Again, you haven't got a, let's be honest, no one likes that label tickling the back of their neck or irritating the back of the neck. And it's just a bit more cooler and I suppose more eco-friendly as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we do a lot of inner neck prints, and it's again very, very easy to do. They run really quickly. Those are a good, again, experienced team will run those off at like 800-900 up to 1,000 per hour.
Wow.
So yeah, for big volumes, screen print really comes into its own.
Well, cool. Excellent. So, thank you for that demo. It really, again, I hope you enjoyed that at home. You probably don't ever get to see, and we never really get the opportunity to have the factory this quiet. So it's a busy place.
Yeah.
Any of you out there that are clients of Outstanding Brandings or are going to be, do let us know, because the Georgious do like to have people to the factory. It's a great facility, very welcoming, and we're more than happy to take people up there to show them the facilities. And if you've got a job going through, again, they're more than happy for you to come along and see your job being produced. So, right, next we're going to talk about decoration, and that's why I was asking about why screen printing. Decorations moved on considerably, hasn't it? From basic prints through to now applique, lasering and engraving, and so just talk us through some of the decoration techniques that, one, is still very popular, but two, some of the new stuff.
So the two biggest and the two most popular are going to be embroidery and screen printing. That's where those are our two biggest departments, and where we definitely do the majority of our work. But within those, you have loads of different specialities. So, for instance, like you said, in embroidery, you've got an applique embroidery, which I do actually have an example of here.
We hadn't even spoken about that, had we?
So this is an applique embroidery, and it's basically taking like a piece of cloth or fabric or felt like this and stitching that onto the garment. What is good about this is, well, firstly, it's very retail driven. You see this a lot in the high street shops and high end designer brands. Right. It also allows you with embroidery to have a big logo, like this is a full front chest, but not too high of a stitch count. So it's not very heavy on the garment. And that's something that's very nice. In terms of screen print, you can have your basic normal inks. What we're doing a lot of more recently is working with water-based inks, which I want to be within the next 12 months to maybe be in a 100% water-based screen print department.
Really?
The reasons being is it is just much more friendly for the environment. The chemicals that are used to make in plastisol inks, which are derived from plastics, so they are produced with petrocarbons, just are not good for the environment, and then the cleanup of them can be harmful for the environment as well. But water-based inks are derived from water with just pigments in them. So there's no harmful chemicals in them. Also, along with that is the feel on the fabric is much softer. It really feels like part of the fabric and is a really nice print. That's something we're doing special in screen printing. One other thing that we introduced, which is not widely available, would be embossing. So here I've got an example of an embossed T-shirt, which is basically made with a male and female clamp. And then you press the fabric in between the male and female clamp with heat and pressure to create a embossed feature on the fabric, which again, I think my dad first saw this in retail shops maybe about 2 years ago. He went out to China and bought a machine, imported it into the UK. What's great about machines in China is they come with Chinese instruction manuals. So there's a lot of trial and error in figuring out how it actually works. But we've been playing and experimenting and testing, and we feel we've really cracked it now, and creating some really nice embossed pieces.
We're waiting for our OB ones to come.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of time on your hands, Luke. You want a bit more work?
I'm sorry, but I'm printing for the NHS, Andy.
Oh, yes. Basically, you've got your evenings free. Anyone that's basically in this room today, you'll get a one of those embossed T-shirts with the OB logo on, courtesy of Essential. What's basically going to happen is I'll have to buy the clothing from Brandon for me. But yeah, anyone that's here today, you get to see that firsthand. Because I think I love the technique, and I think it's one of those techniques that will explode. Do you mean that people really start using it once they start feeling it, touching it, seeing it? Because it is very retail, isn't it? Oh, Louis,
I think
you there?
it's frozen.
No,
Literally.
I can hear you
now. Oh, hello. There you go. Back. You're back.
Has he done a good job?
Can I say something else?
He's doing a great job, George. Basically, we've just given away a load of T-shirts.
Yeah. So Andy's giving away T-shirts on our behalf.
Yeah, there's people on the webinar, George, and they all love your technique. So we thought we'd give them some. Okay, love this question. Right, okay, so let's move on. Something that you touched on there is about water-based inks, etc. What people don't know is, and again, this was something that you guys were always doing with the way the factory's set up. That rather than water's going into sewage and polluting, you have your own treatment facilities now, and the factory itself is hugely environmentally friendly. I want to talk a bit about that, but also about sustainable clothing. People see, one-offs like T-shirts as cheap items that chuck away, wash the car with it, don't really care. If that's the case, they want a garment that's obviously been has the right credentials, has the right sustainability elements, and not just that. What we found on top of that is, well, how's it going to be packaged? So let's start about Essential's own eco credentials, because I think they're very important.
Yeah. So something that we do is we're always looking for suppliers. Or firstly, as you mentioned, the way that we treat our chemicals and the way that we dispose of our chemicals. So the screen room where those screens are made for the screen print machine, we recycle all of the water that is used in the production of those screens, and then also the reclamation of those screens. So once those screens are done and we want to use them again, we have to wash the chemicals off. we bought a machine of maybe 3 or 4 years ago now that basically recycles the chemicals, and the old way, which was a manual method, to this new way with this self-enclosed machine, cuts our chemicals down the drain down by 90 to 95%.
Wow.
So that's a really big improvement there. Then we also, on part of our waste, all of our waste, we compact all of our waste and recycle as much as we can. And then whatever we can't recycle is compact so that it takes up less space and we essentially throw in less away.
Right.
That's something we're doing on a weekly basis. And then you touched on the packaging. Something we introduced, I think maybe a year ago now, is we now offer sugarcane carbon neutral poly bags.
Yep.
These are a great alternative to single-use plastic polymer bags. When you feel them, you can't tell this over video, but they also just feel like a much more quality bag. And if you wanna be providing a quality product, packaging it in something like this that shows its environmental credentials, but then at the same time feels much more premium. It goes hand in hand. So you're doing something good for the environment whilst also supplying a quality product. Something as on top of that, the T-shirt that I printed on there, and also the one that I'm wearing, is they're both made from 100% organic cotton.
Okay.
That's something we're always trying to push people towards, is using organic cotton, and cotton that and suppliers that have really responsible supply chains. It's not just having an organic cotton. The company we buy these T-shirts from, which is Stanley Stella, they have all the accreditations throughout their supply chain, which shows that their workers get paid a fair wage, are in good working conditions, and create a really nice product as well. These are really nice T-shirts. I wear them personally myself.
And you're a bit of a style icon, Louis. So,
yeah. Not as much as you, Andy.
What can I tell you? Yeah, I went camo today for you. I did try and find something that was OB branded, but you haven't done anything for us for a while. One of the other important things that you all need to know about Essential is that all of their supply chains are traceable. So we can look back and actually find where the product come from, where that was made, and it's really, really important. The guys at Essential did a job for one of our largest clients, and again, very, very clever job. That client didn't actually want to brand the T-shirt. They actually wanted a T-shirt that could be reused. So the guys came up with I think it was a bamboo T-shirt, but it was basically made from recycled materials. Anyway, the garment itself was recycled, and then we actually got a recyclable label that stuck on. Anyone that's been to the VIP at the O2, when you go in, you get stuck on a label, and we actually use them exact same labels. So the client ended up with a recycled T-shirt, and the label itself, rather than touching the neck anywhere else, that come off every time. So they actually had a T-shirt that was used on an ongoing basis. All that changed was the label itself. So that was a really cool way of using a bit of creativity, because I didn't think we was going to be able to get the job done, but we did. So yeah, and again, Essential was a huge part of that. Where do you see sustainable clothing going, Louis? Because talking, and again, Debbie's on the call. Clients the size of Debbie's organisation and others, they really, really do have a responsibility to make sure that if they're going to spend money on promotional merchandise, one, it does have a quality aspect, but two, that they are taking care of the environment. Once upon a time, it used to be child labour and factory conditions, which is still very important. But now it is about that garment and how it's made, what it's made of. Where do you see that going?
So there's a few things. So like I said, using suppliers that have traceable supply chains, and you can see that what they are using is ethical. One thing that is coming up more and more, and it's a new development, but is a T-shirt that could be recycled. So when someone is done with their T-shirt, they can take it and reuse the fabric and reposition the fabric to be used for another T-shirt or in another piece of textile. I don't think the technology isn't fully there yet, but that is something that could be quite game changing. I could see it going through there. Using the organic cotton is massive. You don't realize quite, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, I probably should, but normal non-organic T-shirt, it uses something crazy like 100 liters of water in its production of the cotton, whereas organic cotton cuts that water usage down again by like 90%. It's really quite
it's incredible, isn't it?
When you hear the actual figures, is quite astonishing, that doing just the way that they grow the cotton and the farms that cotton is grown in can reduce the water so much. It's again, they're using things like recycled water, and then in the cutting and sewing of the garments and the weaving of the cotton, making sure that all of those factories are sustainable all throughout the supply chain. It all adds up. A lot goes into just a T-shirt. Yeah.
And Debbie's straight in there with. She'd be very, very interested in a recyclable T-shirt. They'll be there. I bet you are, Debbie. Yeah. You'll be the first to know. Don't you worry about that. Right. Let's get on to some questions and answers. Honestly, Louis, this is Louis' first time in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And, he was a little bit nervous, and he's done a brilliant job. I hope you'll all agree. So to actually run a machine as well as me, it's been brilliant.
I was thinking about that last night. I just thinking all of the things that could have gone wrong. Luckily, they didn't.
Don't worry, if it's going to go wrong, it happened to me, not you. And Debbie's basically at the front of the queue for those recyclable T-shirts. Honestly, she'll have your guts for garters if you don't. We'll make sure, don't you worry about that. Right, Andy Campbell, what is the price implication for the sugarcane bags compared to the old poly bags?
There is a increase in price. Again, I don't do quoting, so I don't know off the top of my head, but it is around, I'd say 10 to 15p per bag. Okay. I don't quote me on the exact figures, but it's around that sort of price range.
Right. Okay. Right. Hopefully that answers your question, Andy. Julie Sales, how long do you keep your screens on file for repeat orders?
We actually do not keep our screens on file. We reclaim all of our screens. Basically, we are running out of space, and if we kept all of our screens on file, there wouldn't be enough space in our unit. So they are not, the physical screen isn't kept on file, but we use the machine is called a spider, which is a direct to screen exposing unit, which means everything is computerized and everything is saved and the computer files are saved. And so the time that it takes us to reprint a screen that was printed in the past is massively reduced from, say, where it was a couple of years ago. And so that, I think that answers the question.
Does it, mate? Does the embossing work on the heavier fabrics, sweatshirts, for example, Okay. So this is again from Andy Campbell. Great to see you involved, Andy. But the embossing technique, does it work on heavier fabrics?
It does work on heavier fabrics. Yes, we've done. It tends to like cotton and polyester the most. Right. We have done a few orders on 100% cotton. No, sorry, there were 90% cotton, 10% polyester hoodies that have come out really well. So cotton polyester blends seem to work the most, with a higher content of cotton.
Andy also says, how many units to make the embossing cost effective?
I think our minimum is 50. I know our minimum is 50 pieces. The reason being is we need to make the clamps that we use to emboss the T-shirts. There's a initial setup cost involved in that, which is the biggest barrier to the embossing. But once that is paid for, repeat orders from there
are we talking hundreds of pounds,
easier.
Or are we talking hundreds of pounds for that clamp?
I don't think I don't want to answer that question because I don't know at all.
All right,
that would
cool.
have to be a question from my dad.
I'll make sure everyone knows the answer to that question rather than Louis getting sacked before he's even begun. Matthew Halloran, can you print over the embossing?
It's something we have experimented with, and it's not production ready yet.
Right.
But it has been in the works. It certainly has been tested, and it will be coming something. We've tried printing and then embossing. We've tried embossing and then printing afterwards.
Yeah.
We will get it. It's not quite there yet, but watch this space.
So basically, Matthew, all you need to do, mate, is get an order in and it'll speed them up.
Then we'll figure it out.
Jill doesn't say no to orders, so right. Lee Lawrence, out of all the techniques of printing, which is the most challenging?
A high build silicon print, screen print, high build silicon screen printing. That is very, very difficult.
What is it?
It's it's like printing silicon onto a garment. A lot of like Nike and Adidas use it.
Okay, yes.
Looks when it's done right, it looks really clean, really sharp, really nice. It's done a lot in the Far East where their printing setups are completely different to what we have here. And we have some silicon ink again that was brought in from the Far East with a nice non-English instruction manual. Yeah. Which we have been experimenting with, and I want to bring silicon printing to the UK because I'm pretty sure there isn't someone in the UK printing silicon inks. And it's something I want to bring to the UK. Apart from that, water-based, although since we've been doing it a lot more, we're getting really good with water-based, but there certainly is a smaller margin to error for water-based printing. And you need to be on top of your game more to make sure the quality stays high.
And again, it's I said it earlier. One of Essential's qualities is that they could be a lot cheaper, but it's little things like when they embroider, having two backing sheets inside, so that the threads don't pull. Little things like that go a long way. And I've been selling promo for 20 years. I know I don't look it. But I've only really ever used Essential, and my clients have never ever complained, but quite the opposite, probably questioned why other people don't use them. And it's a testament to George, and he will not put a poor quality garment out of his factory. Right, another question we've got from Andy. He quite likes your embossing. Is it the same tool used on the T-shirts as well as the sweat? So, for example, could they actually buy across the garments, or is it two tools, one for tees, one for...
No, it's the same tool. It is the same tool.
So once they've got that tool, then they can bang out garments left, right, centre. Doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
Excellent. That answers your question, Andy. Right, we've got a question from Dahlia. Which method technique would you say is the least environmentally friendly? Ooh, controversial. Good luck. This is where you get into trouble.
I can't. It depends.
Come on, don't be a politician. Answer the question.
So, if you were to run screen print with the cheapest inks and the cheapest dryer and a really inefficient machine, that's probably going to be on a really cheap, not very environmentally friendly T-shirt.
Yeah.
All of these factors add in.
And dumping all the inks into the river.
Yes. So if you've got like this dryer, when we've got it on set at 170 degrees Celsius, you can put your hand on top of the dryer and you won't feel it because all that heat is insulated inside the dryer. And the idea of that is you want to burn as little gas as possible. But not every dryer is like that. And some of them let out so much heat. And if you're letting out heat from the dryer, you need to burn more gas. And so it depends on the machinery you're using. The thing is, the same could be said for embroidery. So I'm going to leave it diplomatic and say all depends on the inputs that are going in.
Don't worry, Luke.
That's
No one's coming after you. Right, Marcus, he says, do you supply to trade or is it just the end user? Well, if you're asking the question to Outstanding Branding, we supply the end user. Essential supply their trade, which is the distributorship. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers the question. More confusion. Essential don't sell to end users. Outstanding Branding sells to end users. Hopefully that answers your question, Michael, but I think I've confused myself. What is the minimum order quantity? Andy Campbell again. I'm liking you, Andy. You can come to another one of my webinars. What is the minimum quantity for chest applique?
Chest applique, it will be 50. It depends again on the tool. So it would have to, but I believe it's either 50 or 100 pieces. But it depends on the artwork.
100.
Different
size order.
Let's say 100, so that covers me.
Yeah, no, just give us a shout and we'll find some proper answers. Matthew Cullen again. Can you add metal flakes to your inks?
Not metal flakes. There are lots of different speciality inks that you have glitter inks. You can do sites of flocking inks. I mean, it's really endless. I'm not sure of adding metal flakes, but there are certainly lots of inks that would give
Matthew,
the impression of.
If you're still on, Matthew, can you just let us know in what context you'd want flakes in your inks? Because that would be really cool to clear that up. Debbie. Great. Again, Debbie Pascoe. What happens to the screens once you've finished with the job? Can they be recycled?
Yes. So the actual screen, let me go get it. One sec. It will make it.
We could have gone with you, but hope you enjoyed. Oh no, you supposed to put the headphones in. Hope you enjoyed today. We're going to be setting up a whole sustainability clothing webinar soon as well. Louis is back.
So here is the screen. This red stuff on the screen is called emulsion. That is what has been hardened to create this stencil that we can print through. What we do is we wash off this emulsion in our reclaiming unit that I said recycles all of its chemicals. And then this screen is good to be recoated with emulsion and used for a different design. And so this screen will last until the mesh breaks, which could be 100,000 to 500,000 prints. And so, yes, the screens are reused and recycled in a way.
You say in a way. How do you dispose of a screen?
It wouldn't really ever be disposed. It's made from the actual screen itself. Do you mean?
I suppose no. What elements make up a screen, Louis? There's a question for you from me.
So it is just this aluminium frame with a silk. This yellow is a silk mesh.
Okay.
And that silk mesh is stretched over the aluminium frame, and that is a screen. The aluminium frame will last forever. I don't think you would throw one away. I can't think of why, unless it got caught in a machine and broke, but they're pretty tough. It would take a lot to break one. The mesh, that will last, say, 100,000 to could be up to 1 million prints.
Okay.
And then it could start to lose tension, or it might split over time. When that happens, we send the frames off to get restretched with new mesh, and then they can be used again.
Okie dokie. I've crashed again. Basically, we've got Matthew Halloran's back. The metal flakes is to get the same effect as on cars. Shine 1 minute, normal the next. So a sparkle effect, what do they call it?
Yes, but
no, I mean
it wouldn't be metal. It wouldn't be metal flakes. But the answer is yes. There are, like I said, tons of different specialty inks with like glitter effects, glow in the dark. You've got ones that like it doesn't look like anything, and then you put water on it and it appears. And so the answer is yes, to have that sort of effect.
I hope that answers your question, Matthew. Right, well, that's an hour done, Louis. I think you've done well, mate.
Thanks.
Thank you very, very, very much. Unless anyone has any other questions, I'm going to let Louis go and have a lie down. Poor lad's been stressing about this, but he's done an absolutely phenomenal job. I've learned a whole lot more today, so well done, mate. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
What a cracking job you and your family are doing.
Thank you.
The stuff you're doing for the NHS is absolutely superb. And yes, they do heat change inks as well, Matthew. We've used that. Some big up from Debbie. She says, thank you. She's learned a lot. Loving all the sustainable information. So as I say, we'll do another one, Louis, on sustainable. Maybe we'll get a couple of the suppliers involved as well. Vinny, it's been great. Julie, thank you. Very interesting. You're getting a lot of love, mate. You're getting a lot of love. Thank you very, very much. Honestly, you're an absolute legend. Family, you know my feelings. Your mum and dad are like a mum and dad to me. So thank you very much. Thank you for keeping the promo clothing industry going. And you can have the last word. You can have the last word.
Just hope everyone stays safe in this weird time that we're living in, and I hope we get back to normal pretty soon.
Well, thank you very, very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the webinar.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.
Thanks. just